And now, here is your forecast first with meteorologist Garrett Hyde.
Well, it was a pretty mild night tonight. Some clouds hung overhead. We felt about 39 degrees, whereas the rest of the viewing area was pretty mild with temperatures into the mid-40s for most of us. Although throughout the day today, we'll see some clouds work their way into the viewing area, but as we head towards the evening tonight, rain chances do work their way up, and as we head into Friday, rain becomes a little bit more widespread. Here, your forecast first has mainly cloudy conditions throughout most of the day. The wind does pick up as we head throughout the afternoon with highs into the 60s. We'll have more details coming up here on Local 4 News in the morning.
Easter is a little more than a week away now. How Governor J.B. Pritzker suggests worshipers approach today.
Plus, help for families. What one nonprofit here is doing to put food on tables for people in need.
And major problems for some local minor league teams. What they're dealing with because of coronavirus. Local 4 News this morning starts now.
WHBF is local for you. This is Local 4 News this morning.
Good morning, everybody, on this Thursday morning. I'm Redrick Terry.
And I'm Alexandria Ikamoni. Thanks for waking up with us on Local 4 News this morning. We start this morning with the latest coronavirus count from around the world. There are now more than 930,000 cases worldwide. More than 47,000 have died from it. The United States now has more than 210,000 cases. The number of deaths in the U.S. is more than 5,100. Italy has 110,000 cases and the highest death toll of more than 13,000. Spain has more than 100,000 cases and just under 9,400 deaths.
Here are the latest numbers for the state of Iowa. The state confirming 52 more people tested positive yesterday. Total cases are now close to 550. 2 people died as well, both older than 80. 9 people are dead from the coronavirus in Iowa. Meanwhile, Scott County reporting 3 new cases, all adults, 2 between 41 and 60 and 1 between 18 and 40. And it makes 21 cases now for the county. Clinton County adds 1 new case, also a middle-aged adult. That's 6 total cases there. And then in Muscatine County, 2 more tested positive there for a total of 18. And Dubuque County had a person diagnosed on Wednesday. That makes a total of 22 there. Lynn County has the most confirmed cases in the state at 94, and Johnson County, which once did, now stands at 76.
Illinois reports about 980 new cases. The state is now approaching 7,000 cases. Another 42 people died in Illinois. That includes an elderly man from Carroll County. Illinois' death toll is now at 141. Locally, Rock Island County has 3 new cases. All of them are women. The youngest is a teen and the oldest in her 40s. There are now 19 cases total for the county. Henry County confirms 3 new cases. That's now 5 total cases there.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and governors from both parties are now trying to apply some pressure on the federal government. They want something done to help people who don't have health insurance.
I joined Republican and Democratic governors in asking the federal government to open a special enrollment period of the Affordable Care Act to expand health care access to Americans during this period of unprecedented health challenges. We have at least 800,000 uninsured people in Illinois, over 500,000 of whom could potentially sign up for the ACA tomorrow if the federal government opened up a special enrollment period. Some White House officials are saying that the president will not be reopening the insurance marketplace in response to the coronavirus. Frankly, this is leadership malpractice.
Governor Pritzker also pleading with pastors to find ways to live stream Easter services. That plea comes after a senior home coronavirus outbreak in which one of the residents who caught the virus was traced back to a church service.
I understand how important worship is, and especially in these moments, but it can be done virtually, and I would suggest that people should never, despite the desire on Easter to get together, to celebrate together, to worship together, I would still tell people, please stay home.
The governor suggested church members should contact their pastors to find out what online options they may have available to them on Easter Sunday.
The nation's top coronavirus expert is now beefing up security after getting death threats. A source says Dr. Anthony Fauci now has personal security at all times. Dr. Fauci's profile has grown during this pandemic. He was one of the health advisors to encourage President Trump to keep the country as locked down as possible to stop the spread.
Almost 5:05 now. A coronavirus-focused talk could happen soon between President Trump and a Democratic candidate who wants to succeed him. John Lawrence reports.
Sometimes a crisis like the COVID-19 pandemic brings people together, including politicians who've exchanged vitriol in the past. But is that realistic now?
I've learned a long time ago, never question a person's motive, but you can question their judgment. And his judgment is that many of the things he says simply are not accurate.
Despite that stance, Joe Biden's campaign says a talk between the former vice president and President Trump is being arranged.
I always found him to be a nice guy. I don't know him very well, frankly, but I think he's probably a nice guy. No, if he'd like to call, I'd absolutely take his call.
So far, there's no concrete plan or a guarantee it'll go smoothly.
I find it to be petty and a tinge of partisanship and completely unhelpful to the American population to have a former vice president who was here for 8 years in his bunker in Wilmington just lobbing criticisms.
In a USA Today op-ed in late January, Biden said President Trump was the worst possible leader to handle the COVID-19 crisis. And President Trump said this week that New York Governor Andrew Cuomo would be a better presidential candidate than Biden.
The president is always finding someone who does a better job than me. He's not wanted to run against me for the last 3 years. But, Mr. President, here I come.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Now, Biden is the front runner for the Democratic presidential nomination, and since the novel coronavirus pandemic broke out, primaries have been delayed. The campaigns for Biden and fellow candidate Senator Bernie Sanders have largely been sidelined.
Illinois lawmakers say the COVID-19 outbreak will now make big changes to this year's budget. Up to $8 billion could be lost this year, and that's only 20% of the state's yearly budget. Matt Sheehan spoke with some lawmakers about how they're going to pass a balanced budget here.
State Representative Ryan Spain says the $2 trillion stimulus package President Trump signed last week will help cushion the financial blow the novel coronavirus is having on the state's economy.
There are things to help affected businesses, key industries, and assistance for governments that are impacted.
But Spain says that won't be the last stimulus package we see.
That's important, but I don't think it's the last of what we will need to see in terms of additional federal assistance.
State Senator Dave Kaler agrees the boost will be helpful to the state of Illinois.
We're going to depend on all that. The state of Illinois, I think, is scheduled to receive about $5 billion. That hasn't been even talked about yet as to how that's split up.
Last year, Governor J.B. Pritzker signed the state's infrastructure bill, Rebuild Illinois, into law. It includes $45 billion worth of investments for infrastructure, early childhood centers, the state crime lab, and veterans homes over the next 6 years. Kaler believes some of these projects may have to be put on hold.
People are not driving as much, so gas taxes are going to be down. I think the capital bill is in place. We've got projects identified. It just may take a little bit longer timeline to reach that.
Matt Sheehan reporting. Well, the deadline to pass the state budget is May 30th. Lawmakers say that deadline will get pushed back if needed.
5:08 now on this Thursday. Buses are one place where illness can spread quickly. That's why Metrolink says it's taking extra steps to protect passengers during this outbreak. Managers there say ridership has been cut in half. Now, typically, the bus service sees about 10,000 riders a day. They say they already had strong cleaning precautions in place, like wiping down commonly touched surfaces, but they've added extra steps to help stop the spread.
We're also asking passengers to board from the rear. Unless they do need assistance from the operator, then we'll, of course, allow them to board from the front.
The buses are taking precaution. I think it's good. You could, at one time, go to the front and the back either way, two-way. Now it's just one way, and I respect that.
Right now, Metro is waiving the fare for riders to avoid contact between the operator and passengers. That will go on until further notice.
And starting today, the Clinton MTA will be cutting back on hours. Take a look at your screen for the time changes. Main and Comanche Avenue, then the Branch Hill have all changed their schedules. The Hill Line, 13 Avenue North and Lincoln Way, that shuttle will not run. Saturday shuttles will be by request only and for necessary trips. Requests can be made by calling the number on your screen.
The Wilton Fire Department is now asking for the public's help during these times. The fire department is run by volunteers and they are in need of face masks. There are currently 30 volunteers between the fire department and the EMS crew. They're also asking for gowns as well, and this is so they can stay protected while going out on calls.
We would like it if they could be dropped off at the Wilton Police Department or the city offices, or it's like they can make arrangements and we can come get them.
Now call ahead if you plan on dropping off any donations.
Well, 180 in Davenport is finding another way to serve the community during this pandemic. It typically helps people struggling to get their lives back on track. And now it's using $22,000 in grants for a food drive to feed 130 families that might have trouble making ends meet.
We also working with Riverbend Food Bank, who has been extremely generous to us, but we also have a lot of families outside of our original food banks or food pantries that have closed, and that's where RDA is coming in, and we've committed to at least 6 weeks of this.
180 is also looking for volunteers to box and deliver the food.
Fans of Michael Bublé will have to wait a little bit longer to see him in the Quad Cities. The singer's upcoming concert is being postponed because of coronavirus. He was scheduled to perform at the Taxslayer Center on the 14th of May. All other dates of his An Evening with Michael Bublé tour are also being changed. Tickets will be honored for the rescheduled date.
Well, coming up, increased access, what the Moline Public Library is offering, even with its doors closed. That's next in our half hour.
But first, here's a live look outside. Nice start to our day, and maybe expecting something a little bit warmer. Garrett's in next with a look at your forecast. You're watching Local 4 News this morning.